Siddhartha, please answer your question. Hello.
Hi. Am I audible?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. So the question that I have has been created out of last few satsangs we have had and some of the videos that I've been watching. So I spent a good first 15 years of my spiritual seeking just running away from suffering, essentially. So whatever teachings I got, I used them and I interpreted them that this is the way to avoid and not feel pain and not suffer. And that didn't work out. That didn't work out at all. And at some point, I realized that I have to sit in it and go through it. And this is my way out of it. And I got convinced. I was completely convinced, and it started to pay off. But even then, I have I've had quite a few over the last 20 odd years. Quite a few stressful and difficult and challenging things happen where I was completely swept aside by the intensity of the moment or however long it lasted. All my efforts to be uh, to be able to handle it with equanimity were completely destroyed. And I know in my gut that even though the way is through it, and as you have said in one of your videos, that I should be willing to allow whatever happens, happen, and even proclaim it that let whatever happens, happen. And I do so because I know that's the only way. Hiding is no longer an option. I know if it's strong enough, blow comes. My ability to stay in it will might not be available. And in fact, the ability to stay or be calm or be equanimous or be able to let things be, or let a moment be, is not something that I have at my disposal. That's not a resource that I have. It's either there or not there. It just seems like it's not something that I can just do because I am empowered to do so. So while I move in this journey, and it seems that this is the way to go through it, there is that fear, or there is that suspicion that you're like walking over a frozen lake, and every step you are keeping, that the ice might break and you might just drop into it before you reach the other end. That lingering feeling is there, always there. There is no. I don't feel fearless, for example, through this process. I know that enough of a blow it comes, I might not be able to handle it because I've been through so much. And I know in my experience that things can be really, that pain has no upper limit. And attention will be grabbed by it. And all the things that happen after it, resistance and everything, will just come like dominoes. It will just keep falling and I will be helpless. And I've seen that happen in the past. And that fear is there. How do I handle that fear?
So from what I'm understanding, it seems that perhaps you mentioned a bit about staying calm and equanimity. Why do you think that's important?
So what I meant by equanimity is not being reactive to the point where you close your eyes to the experience. I believe the instruction. Okay.
Just not there.
I believe the instruction is to not do that. Okay.
Okay. So exactly. So when you talk about reaction, are you reacting to other people, or is it an internal reaction?
It's mostly it's all of that is there. My biggest thing is my health related problem. So if I have pain and I have had a lot of health issues, that's the biggest source of resistance for me.
Right. So my question is, when you react, are you reacting with a thought process, or are you talking about reacting on other people?
No. I'm reacting to the experience. I want to push it away. I don't want to experience it.
Great. So yeah. when it comes, if you are a kind of person and you're relating and you're reacting on others, then there's a practice there of making amends. When you're reacting within yourself, what tends to be happening is you've got an idea about how you should be, and that is what you need to allow, what your mind is doing, because it's purely empty. But if you have an idea that it should be calm, it should be peaceful, why is it doing this? That is not allowing. Allowing means to truly allow whatever your mind throws up, whatever reactions come internally, however stressed you feel about your health issue, whatever it is, you allow it all, because what is watching? You are the knower of that experience. And when you are the knower of the experience, why would you have a preference about what's happening internally that's not harming anybody else? You just
But what if a
allow.
strong preference appears?
Say
My
again.
problem is that my problem is the question that really I'm asking is that when a difficult enough situation arises, a very strong preference comes in the mind, which is to not experience that difficult situation.
Okay. Right. So practice before you arrive at that strong situation to allow everything to be as it is. Everything. I do things like, if I'm about to do yoga, which I still have some resistance to, I just imagine myself doing yoga and I completely allow whatever comes up to be as it is, and instantly I go and do it. This is an ongoing practice. You are taking you're taking residence in your true nature from living life as a separate self. And the separate self has a stranglehold almost on how you function and behave. And it takes great courage and perseverance to allow yourself to be as you are in a completely compassionate and expanded way with whatever appears, because this is what consciousness is doing, right? So in the meditation that we started with, you're shifting from behaving like a separate self. What am I doing here? I want to avoid this. I don't want to feel this. This is bad. I lost my thing. I should be calm. All these thoughts, that is what you want to allow. You want to allow the noise that the separate self is producing. It's really, really very subtle. It's not like the separate self is going to allow you allow your separate self to be as it is. And over time, you begin to notice that it doesn't really impact as much as one believes. It certainly doesn't leave any trace. Like where in your mind stream right now can you find the harm from the last time you had this appear?
It's there only if I remember it.
Yeah. So the memory appears of this last time. You allow the memory to be as it is. The fear of the next time, you allow that to be as it is. The equanimity isn't manufactured out of willpower. It's born from the insight that nothing is happening of any significance. And that is a learned process. It's like when you go to an IMAX cinema, if you've ever been to one, it's the massive 3D cinema, and you watch a video on a roller coaster and it feels so real, and you're hanging onto your chair. And when I've been to those cinemas, I don't know if you have, but when I've been to those, I look around and I'm like, there's nothing going on, right? And as soon as I look back at the screen again, I'm on a roller coaster. And this is what we're doing. And I'm sure you've had experiences of this where you flicker between the two. You're 1 minute you are able to relax and just let everything be as it is, and one little thing catches you and you jump back in, and you're back into thinking and doing and being a separate self that has a real problem. And the solution to this is to be completely compassionate with yourself, right? Know that even the appearance of disturbance is calm. The appearance of disturbance is calm. When a storm passes through the sky, it does so completely at rest. It may be very dramatic, but it's completely at rest. It arises, the clouds break, the rain pours down, the wind screams, it passes through, and that's it. all relaxes again. But the whole thing was relaxed during, before, during, and after. It's the same with us. And what we're doing is we are just shifting our perspective slightly to becoming the knower of experience. And in my practice that I share, the easiest way to become the knower of the experience is to allow it, because that's what the knower does. If you engage in it, then the knower never engages. The sky, the vault of the sky, never engages in the storm. The storm just moves through as its own body. So these mind storms, let's call them, that appear within you, fear, uh, health issues, thinking processes, they appear. And then the most powerful way to meet them is to allow them to be. Just I completely allow this experience to be as it is. You can even lie down, really feel into it, and allow it to be as it is. You get a sense of what's going on, and you just lie down and you say, I give you complete permission to be here, and I allow it. And that process alone brings the separate self and the knower of experience to recognize they are one. The separate self is an apparition that appears within the field of knowing, as do all experiences, both subject and object. It all appears as the knower. I said last week, we are the juncture of the knower and the known, which is really not really graspable, but that's our lived experience. And when you allow it to be as it is, everything, your relation to it settles. And when your relationship to it settles, whatever's appearing will spin out, like the same with a storm. The way that I could describe it, I'm using different metaphors, but if a storm appears in the sky, it's if the sky got involved in it, the storm would never end. Right? If the sky got involved, it would never end. So pick whichever metaphor is most appropriate for you. But the basic practice is that when these things appear, your engagement propels them. And there's a very interesting something you can practice, even if you want to use a journal. When it appears, right, allow it to be as it is and see how long it takes before you're thinking about something else. It can be less than 90 seconds, right? What could be a whole week of stress can resolve on its own in about 90 seconds, because we don't have the capacity to even think about anything for that long. I can ask the group here, think about the classic pink elephant, and I carry on talking to you about your experience, and it's hard to even keep that in the field of mind because it's so dynamic and fluid. But we do have an apparent capacity to regenerate the same thought over and over and over and over and over again. And if we did it with something like the pink elephant, we would think we was insane, because I would in literally to think about a pink elephant. I don't know why I chose that. I think it's pretty common. I would have to sit here and go pink elephant, pink elephant. I would have to keep regenerating it. And that's what we do with our thought processes. We take it all so seriously. We make it all so important. We make it all so real. The subject of the separate self and the object of these experiences, and we perpetuate it in our daily activity, and it creates suffering. The undoing of that is whenever you remember, let it be as it is. And then you get back up again, you come back, you let it be as it is. And you can choose. I find that if you are really interested in a pure non-dual path, you can practice leaving everything as it is. The entire circumstance, the words, images, everything. If you are more interested in just direct human benefit, you allow the emotions to be as they are. And that can be easier for some people. Both are good. I don't place judgments on these. But if there's a lot of strong emotions, sometimes leaving everything as it is can be a little bit disconnecting from your actual, it's just a little disassociating. It can be, where if you focus on letting the strong emotions, stress, fear, worry, and you really tune into one and feel it and allow it to be as it is, it's like embodied presence. Both are very powerful, and you can choose whichever is more available to you. But the key point that I'll end it here with is that this is a process of recognizing that nothing is happening, even though it seems so. And the only way we get to find that out is by letting things be as they are. There's no other way to find that out.
Okay. Thank you. I think I understand. So the way I'll close after this. The way it used to happen for me over the last several years is something intense would happen, and I have, or at least have, incredible confidence, or used to have incredible confidence in my ability to solve a problem. I would immediately go into my mind and start planning a way out of that intense situation, and plan, control, find a way. 1 year from now, maybe I'll sort this out by doing this, that, and the other. Because I distinctly remember once trying to let it happen the way it's happening, and my mind says, no, you can't. I can't let it happen. I have to address it. I have to fix it. There is no way. Otherwise, I won't be able to live like this for the rest of my life. This might go on forever. You have to handle it. You have to solve it. This was my pattern all throughout, and that's what I'm trying to ease now. Not to go into that solving state of mind where I want to take control of the situation and solve it.
The only way you can do it is it does take courage, but you have to not believe your mind.
Yes. It has paid off. It has worked finally after like 20 years.
One moment of not believing your mind and seeing that it just vanishes, and it is so liberating. But then you do it again and you do it again, because there's the old saying, isn't it, that you can't solve these problems anyway with the same mind that created them in the first place. So we just step out of that. So that's your practice. I hope that helps. I'm going to move on to Lee because we haven't got so much time.
Thank you.
But just have that as a practice to really be courageous with this, and you will find that you are okay just as you are.